This is Gundam Evolution. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So, what is this? What are we getting? It's a free-to-play shooter, 6v6 with... It's basically like Overwatch Gundam, if that makes sense. You're fighting for objectives with giant mech robot things across a selection of different maps. So, from the beta, it's supposed to be a 4K resolution at 60 FPS. That's what they were, kind of targeting with that one, or with this one at the time and whatnot. And it does actually seem to be pretty clean and sharp, even though the star isn't giving us a full indicator that it's full 4K. So, just keep that in mind. But it does look pretty clean, and it does play really smoothly gameplay-wise from what I've noticed. So, yeah, what exactly is the overall goal? Again, it's just, team tactical play with a variety of different Gundam-like mech suits. I think the Gundams are the mechs. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with the universe. I think when I was young, I don't know, it had something to do with this. I can't remember. Anyways, I'm aware of the franchise, I guess is the best way to say it. But yeah, this game is alright. It's actually a pretty decent sort of hero shooter. There's a variety of different characters to play as. They have little phrases and stuff like that. I typically play as the medic, so someone grabbed that beforehand, which is funny because I've never had anyone try to, grab that character so far, so that's interesting. Yeah, it's like this little character with two pistol things where you go about healing people. So, yeah, we'll make do with what we have. And it's kind of, again, it's okay. It's not like, I don't know, necessarily something that's like super and crazy mind-blowing, but it's kind of fun. It's alright, it plays well. It's pretty tactical. You go about shooting the various enemies that get in your way, working as a team to doing so, and then you're going about either capturing positions or kind of planting a bomb on a position and trying to make sure that that bomb sort of blows up. There's a few different game modes, and then there's a decent selection of maps that are actually quite varied. I would have liked maybe some more levels, but you know what? I think it's got a decent selection, honestly. It's a fine amount for what I've seen out of similar free-to-play games. So that's fine. And then you kind of go about blasting enemies. I don't know if it's necessarily anything too crazy in depth, but it doesn't seem like there's any sort of really pushed like microtransactional elements or anything like that. I've been able to just come in as a giant mech thing and shoot a bunch of people and capture objectives and play the game and have fun and not really have too many complaints about it. So some of the characters have different forming abilities. Again, the mech character is kind of cool. The one with the two little shooting things there, because you can become a little plane for a bit and fly around, which is kind of cool to me. I thought that was kind of neat. You can fly around, whip around, you can heal, and you can like drop a turret. So, the different characters, they have different skills and abilities. And then you're able to command and capture certain points on the map too. If you're on the attack, there's like, usually like a waypoint that you can grab for your team, which is kind of nice. And there's different kind of commands and stuff you can do with the D-pad, which is kind of cool. It's like they're getting ready to attack. And yeah, it's just kind of, it's a fairly interesting sort of easygoing shooter. And there's lots of like, I guess you would say, cosmetic type things, like decorative type things that you can do customization on with your Gundam characters. Like I said, I'm not super well versed in the universe, so I don't know if it's like, crazy lore accurate and whatnot, but it's definitely gameplay wise for a shooter. I can get a feel for what they're going for with this one, and I think it does, to me, kind of work. And there's a tutorial that you can dive into if you need to. Well, I think you have to do the tutorial when you start. I'm pretty sure that's a force thing, and that's to teach you the different movements and everything like that, so you can zip around. But yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's okay. you know, coming from the perspective of not really understanding the universe or what's going on or why these giant mechs are fighting each other, you know, it's just a pretty competent, okay shooter game. I don't know if my long-term attention will fully be behind it, but I could still kind of see and appreciate why people might have this to be a fun thing in their, you know, occasional free-to-play collection of games. I mean, I'm always down for a new shooter experience, and I'm sure others are. And you know, if you're a fan of this franchise, I think you might find this to be kind of cool. Because, like I said, again, making that comparison to say the well-loved, well-known Overwatch, this one definitely kind of leans on that in terms of, you know, how it functions, the concept, the goals of it. You know, having that very tactical, team-focused idea kind of works well for it. I mean, like I said, I don't really have too many complaints for the gameplay other than it's just kind of like, alright. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about when you play like Overwatch that feels like really, really addictive. But, you know, I don't know if this one quite has that edge to it, but it's still kind of a fun little shooter thing. You know, running around these giant mechs going pew 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 pew, breaking stuff and that. It's cool. You know, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I like what they put together. And I think I've been doing pretty well at it too, I would say, as well, you know, across a bunch of different matches. I've been trying to get, like, a ranking going. It's got okay sounds as well, you know, I like the little sound things of the different mech suits, and also, again, the call-outs they do are kind of interesting between the different characters being, like, you know, they've got, I don't know if they're catchphrases, but they've got, like, all kinds of little dialogue bits that they say during matches, which I'm totally fine with. It's just kind of like, it's really difficult to dive into too deeply, as I don't really have that perspective of lore. Like, to me, it's just a bunch of mechs running around going pew 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 pew, and shooting each other and blasting each other. It does seem pretty well balanced, though. You know, it seems like all the mechs do really, really fast, quick damage, and anyone can get, like, just annihilated in seconds, basically. Or if you're, like, kind of fast-moving, you might be able to, you know, tactically get out of the way fast enough to escape. I mean, it seems like different characters, you know, again, going to that Overwatch style, different characters have different thresholds and abilities and ways to do damage. I actually wish I was doing the medic character, because as I said, you know, I kind of like... Oh, I'm destroyed. I like how that one handles, just because it's got a different sort of, like, team play mechanic to it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you're a little bit more, you know, working with your squad, because you're basically healing people on the go. Whereas other characters, you know, you're a little bit more like, this guy seems to be more of a brawler fighter kind of thing. I think it's like one of the title Gundams, if that's a thing. I don't know. Like I said, I've no idea about these characters at all. Purely from a shooter's perspective, it's incredibly okay. that's the biggest thing. Is it functions good if you're just going around shooting things, which is, you know, what I'm good at. I would say proficiently good at. I have a lot of fun in shooter games, so I'd say from that perspective, give it a whirl. I mean, giant mechs are always a fun time, you know. Like, you know, I love me some Titanfall and stuff, and I honestly always feel like we don't have enough, you know, kind of mech-based things. So, you know, there we go. We finally got another one. Especially in the shooter perspective. Like, I didn't really anticipate this one at all, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't really see it coming. Oh, reach player level 10. Oh, I thought I was going to get, like, a thing. Anyways, let's jump into another match, I guess. Yeah. MVP as well. Look at me. Just kind of, just killing it out there. See, I'm so good at this. Alright, off we go into the next battle. Coming off of a high of being the MVP out there, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, now we've got my little kind of robot, kind of medic dude. Where you get, like, these little blaster things going on. And you gotta play just a little bit differently, basically, because, well, you know, lots of stuff going on and lots of enemies. I quite like that it's got a larger-than-life kind of style to it. I mean, obviously, these are giant mech things, right? But it's definitely like when you're in the environments, it feels like, you know, they're designed for these suits to be roaming around in. But you can also spot lots of things that are kind of like, oh wow, no, the scale of this is actually really, really large. Especially in the tutorial, it's kind of funny, actually. There we go. Our team is really struggling to get in there. Really, really struggling. But it's neat seeing the frantic giant robots blasting each other in different areas and whatnot. You know, across the map you see guys fighting off in different ways. I don't know if it fully gets the team angle going. I mean, it's got lots of ways to communicate with your squad, but I don't really notice a whole lot of, like, combined maneuvering. Like, obviously some people heal some people, and better teams are going to do better when they're, like, sticking together and fighting, but it does also feel like a lot of different individuals kind of, like, go off on their own little individual battles while going on. I mean, maybe the rank play is a little bit more intensive, I guess, but it's just something I've noticed. Yeah, see, I've become a giant floating robot thing. Oh, it didn't get away. Our team's not doing the best out there. Usually I'm able to get some good heals going on. I almost feel like I'm down the squad a bit by not being out there doing that. Well, I try my best. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like Starscream and stuff. There we go. Ow. Holy. Okay, I'm gonna change units to this guy because I need something with a little bit more combat going on. Usually I could just zoom around as the little character, but obviously that is not working here. So my biggest points are essentially, you know, it's a fun shooter game if you like Overwatch. You know, this is kind of gonna feel, I think, to a degree similar gameplay-wise. If you're really into the Gundams, this might be like a cool new way to experience those characters. Our team is absolutely getting dominated this round. It's got some good objective-based play, a few different maps in different areas, like open, you know, kind of, I guess you would say desert spots, some industrial-type building locations. Similar to this one, there's actually kind of a few that are like this. The maps aren't like massive or crazy in design. I would have liked a little bit more of an aesthetic flair to them. They just seem like locales, but, you know, at the same time, I think the art style and the visuals look nice. The robots look cool and clean, too. And, yeah, it's not a bad-looking game. Performs well. Shooting's good. I just don't know if I'm, like, necessarily crazy fully about it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think there's anything really wrong with it, but I don't know how much, like, long-term interest, I guess, I'm gonna have is the biggest thing. I mean, I'm enjoying it, you know, for when I'm playing of it, but I'm just kind of being like, okay, and then eventually I think I'll move on to the one afterwards or the next game. But I think some people, I think it'll get a dedicated crowd for the, you know, the hardcore fans, and I think it might even get some casual people being like, oh cool, giant mech things and shooting stuff around. So, you know, I think that's from a good perspective. Is that like my first kill? Man, I gotta say our team has like not been kicking it. We got them. Let's let them revive each other. Ooh, almost got him. Injured him pretty good there. See, now we're fighting back a little bit. That's nice. It's just the kills that is the biggest issue for our team, it looks like. You know, we're not getting all those kills out, which is kind of important if you want to, you know, kind of win. You gotta clear out your foes. You know, we've got the ultimate abilities. It's a clean UI. If anything, the game might be just too simplistic almost. But then again, that's kind of, I think, a lot of the fun of Overwatch is the simplicity of it. You know, doing the whole hero shooter type thing and kind of not having it be too crazy or inaccessible to people. Yeah, and I got shot in the back too. That's rough. These are giant mech things. I'm gonna have to actually, I don't know if I care enough, but maybe look again at like the lore of this and understand like the scenarios and the setups that made this possible. I don't know. Just kind of like curious as to like what's going on here. But Yeah, I don't know. It's a fine shooter game. I don't think you're at any disadvantage if you don't, grab anything to play it. You can just kind of have fun, yeah, shooting robots and stuff, which I think is good. Oh, come on, I was right there at the yellow. Thank you for the revive, my friend. Why didn't the second swing go off? Is it because I pressed Y again too fast? That might be it. You get some cool abilities. I guess it depends on your mech, too. What kind of things you get out of it. Like, what kind of abilities do you have? What kind of things can you do to damage folks? What kind of items do you have? Stuff like that. So overall, fun, enjoyable. Got some content to it. It's a pretty solid giant robot mech shooting game. It's got a decent pace to it. It's kind of fun to play. It's kind of fine to play. I don't really have anything else details-wise to go over. I think I've covered most of my experience from playing this quite a few times. Just enjoy some more non-commentary gameplay, I guess, to see more of this one in action and get an idea of it further.
Redeploying. Target changed to Objective B. An ally's mobile suit has been destroyed. Objective contested. Allied unit down.
They won't get me this time.
Enemy recon team in here. Watch out.
This doesn't look good.
Objective contested. My suit's busted. Help me out.
I'm losing fighters.
Captured Objective B.
Area.
Objective contested. 3 minutes remaining. Target changed to Objective C.
Redeploying. Field user in my sights.
Fight for control of the target area. The battle has turned in our enemy's favor.
The enemy's pulling